Hey, friends. Well, so continuing in the general vein of my posts for the last long as I can remember, few months at least, I had something show up today. It was a really interesting experience. I think I was standing, maybe I was meditating, or maybe I was standing in yoga, I forget. And oh, I remember. It was right after my meditation. I had decided, okay, I'm going to spend, because sometimes if I try and if I don't deliberately block out time when I'm going to consciously sit with a vision of what I'm trying to create, what I'm trying to manifest, then those thoughts kind of invade meditation, they invade my yoga practice, they just invade my day, they just show up whenever because I'm not taking a conscious moment to pay attention to them. So today I was like, all right, well look, I'm gonna just tack on another few minutes at the end of my meditation time. I'm gonna meditate, then it's gonna be over, and then I'm gonna do a bit of time sitting with doing some visualization, just letting myself visualize what I'd like to create, right? And this is coming off of, if you want to go back and see my previous posts about kind of how I got here, what this transition is all about. There's a lot of interesting things going on. Fair amount of kind of wrestling with some challenges and some shame. Really, really fun stuff. Super, super fun is the word. But I do feel like I'm making progress. And so sitting with a vision here today and just over the last couple of days has been really helpful in deciding to get really clear about what I'm trying to create. So I start doing that. I finish my meditation and I start doing that. And like almost immediately, I start to visualize, oh, I'd like to create this. I'd like to create a community of people whom I'm in dialogue with about this kind of deeper work. I want to create some performance opportunities, it wasn't so much about performing, it was about sharing what I'm creating and making a kind of letting that out. But I barely got going. My visualizing process barely got going before, and it was like my editor brain jumped in and started saying, well, is that really what you want? Are you sure? What if it's more like this? And started like editing my own visualization before I could even envision it. Before I could get a clear image, my mind was already coming in and like kind of cutting me off at the pass, like, and manipulating. And I realized, like, wow, I have a real habit here of, this is something that I know this from my work. Like, if you're a writer, then you've seen yourself do this. You're trying to create, you're trying to write, and at the same time you're letting yourself edit what you're writing. Well, that's usually not a good, those are not two processes that you want to combine. You want to be doing the letting yourself flow part first, and then come in and scrutinize and analyze and divide and cut stuff, add stuff, see what's missing. But you try and do all that as you're creating, forget about it. It'll never happen. Well, that was what was happening in my mind as I'm trying to just like think of my own, just imagine where I'd like my life to go. And I was like, wow, that's a pretty overactive editor I've got. Like, whoa. And And so as I observed that, something showed up where I was like, oh, I need to, before I even start a process like this, I need to kind of declare for myself that I accept my own vision. Because if I can't accept my own vision, no wonder it's so hard to come up with a clear vision and then go in that direction, right? Like, because I'm internally hedging. It's almost like having a clear vision would be a kind of vulnerability. Now, it's hilarious to think of it that way, because whom am I really so vulnerable to? This is literally happening in me. It's in my own mind, in my own psyche, coming up with a clear vision of life. But something about that feels vulnerable because another part of me is judging it at the same time. So it's like, even if I never share this with anybody, there's still a sense of like, that's risky. It's risky to actually have a clear vision, because having a clear vision would be committing to one thing and eliminating a bunch of other things. And can't we find a way to make this vision a little more all-encompassing so that it ticks all the boxes of like ultra satisfaction, abundance, magnificent fantasy lifeness that we could possibly ever come up with, or now or in the future, in perpetuity here on Earth or throughout the known universe? Like, it's like I'm trying to create a legal contract that gives me total freedom, but at the same time almost like systematically dismantles any concrete thing that I come up with. And I was like, wow, like this overactive editor thing has got to go. I have to start from a place of I accept what I truly want. And the thing is, then what I noticed, because I sort of said that to myself, and what I noticed is, after that, first the images slowed down. I stopped having so many thoughts and ideas kind of unfolding in my mind. And there was kind of like okay, calm, now I'm just here. And then little by little, one by one, resounding images, resounding visions started to appear. And they were happening much slower, and they didn't feel like they were reaching for like, they weren't trying to tick boxes in my, in some kind of like internal scorekeeping game. They were just, this feels important to me. This feels real and important to me. I want to have a powerful and continuous and connected relationship with my daughter. I want to be there for her. I want to be part of her life. I want to be there for her, and active in her growth for whatever she needs from me. I want to have creative relationships that challenge me, that give me accountability, that give me something to push against, that give me a kind of sense of what I give is actually engaging beyond myself. It's not something that the process isn't happening strictly within me. I'm getting out there. That doesn't, and so then my like editor brain would go, yeah, and it becomes successful in this way and this way and this way, and then and start to sort of enhance that or inflate it. And I think, that's where I have to be really careful, because at the same time as I don't want to shy away from treating my work as an opportunity for genuine sort of like, for it to expand as widely as it possibly can and reach as many people as it can. I don't want to shy away from that. But I also don't want to overinflate why I'm doing this in the first place. And it's usually not because it's gonna, reach 1 million people or get so and so many likes on YouTube or whatever. Like, that's usually not where I'm coming from, if I'm being really honest with myself. So I have to kind of do both. I have to kind of both leave the door open to as much visibility and as much success and sort of like to shine, to leave the door open to be able to shine as brightly as possible, while at the same time not, really keeping my focus on, well, why am I doing this? Whom am I doing it with? What am I trying to say? Why is it important that I say this? What are the working surfaces of my own kind of like conscious creation that matter to me, whether or not anybody notices or cares or engages with it? It really is kind of like doing this dance where it's like I'm willing to be totally open and seen by 1 million billion people, and I know why I'm doing it for myself all the time, and never leaving that, because I have definitely observed in myself, first, either I'm kind of hiding under a bushel. It's easy to hide under a bushel and say, okay, this is all just happening here, might not ever be seen, and that's kind of okay, because then I can fail and it's okay. So you got to get that bushel out of the way and say, no, I own this, I am this, this is worthy, I believe in this, I will share this, I want to share this. But then I guess, the other half is kind of self-explanatory, or at least pretty obvious, that taking something and inflating it. I think I have a tendency to take something I'm doing and inflate it to a level where it's like I'm pretending to aim for something that I'm not really aiming for in here, as though like this will be the next big program, the next big piece, musical, song, whatever. And then I start to kind of like my feet come off the ground. I start to leave my rootedness in the creative core of everything. And that's equally, if not more, I mean, neither one of these is legit. Both of them are forms of inhibition. And I think because I can observe both in myself, I have to kind of, come back to the center, accept my own vision. Accept it. Own it. Know that it's worthy, even before I edit it and make everything perfect. It's worthy, It's mine. I believe in it. It's a gift. I have something to give. And just live into that. So yeah, that's what I got today. Thanks for watching, folks. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you tomorrow.